Hey guys, it's Simon. This is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, and that means tonight was AEW Dynamite. And for some reason, my notes did not pop up on the screen, but we've got Luke here while I try to fix all this. Luke on a rare Wednesday night. Luke, what's going on while I fix my prompter and see why it's not turning on?
Yeah, like first Wednesday back in a while, classes are done, so I no longer have those Wednesday night classes, so I could finally enjoy a AEW Dynamite, but I don't know what happened to my camera, but
No, it's my end. I had to unplug and replug in my teleprompter.
But anyway, as far as Dynamite does go, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was a great show, but it was just So here's my thing. So is the AEW World Championship not going to be defended Double or Nothing, which is kind of a bummer in my opinion?
No, it will not.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer, honestly. Like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but
I do, and I'm going to say right now, you can agree with me or not, chat. I was bored with that cage match. The main event bored me. I don't know if you felt the same way about it, but there was nothing in that cage match that made me go, oh my God, or whoa, whoa. Like, oh, Moxley's bleeding again. Okay.
Yeah, they overuse Moxley bleeding a lot.
Like, granted, he's toned it down a little bit recently. Like, he hasn't bled like he used to bleed every single match, no matter what. Now it's not as much, I guess you would say. But it's still like, oh, Moxley's bleeding, whatever. It still doesn't have that effect of, like, say the Hell in a Cell match last year with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Oh my God, Drew's busted open and bleeding crazy. Wow, we're shocked. But because AEW, and Moxley's more specifically, would bleed so much so often, the shock value is not there anymore. But I'm just going to say it. That main event and the main event post-match angle bored me. I was completely and utterly bored with it. And here's another one. Kid Vicious says, I felt the same way. Trey, I always butcher his last name. Lucado? The main event was although Gabe getting involved was something. Was it though? Because there's no reason for it. Gabe Kidd being involved makes no sense. Now, if they were to have already set up Anarchy in the Arena and the Death Rider team needed one extra person, then Gabe Kidd can make somewhat of sense saying, oh, I'm going to come help you because I don't like Kenny Omega because he beat me at Wrestle Kingdom. Then that would make a little bit of sense. But him coming out there and helping Jon Moxley retain the title, what sense does that make at all? What sense? What have I missed? That all of a sudden Gabe Kidd showing up is cool and makes sense. I don't understand this at all. And it's like, maybe I've missed something on a Collision. Maybe I've missed something on a New Japan show. I don't think so, actually, though. I honestly don't think I have missed anything that's leading to this. So it's what Triple H said not long after he took over booking. We don't want to have matches on cards just because we're supposed to that month. It's October. We got to have a Hell in a Cell match. No, we don't do that anymore. And it's just like here. Oh, Double or Nothing. We have to have an Anarchy in the Arena. So we got to throw a bunch of people together. It doesn't feel genuine. It feels forced and just all thrown together. Would you agree, disagree?
No, like I agree with you 100% on this. Like everything just feels so thrown together where it doesn't make sense.
Trey saying I didn't say it made sense. Oh, I'm not saying you said that. That's just me elaborating on your comment. Just being like, yeah, you seem interested that he showed up, but it still doesn't make sense that he showed up. So we'll get into all of it. Not a bad show, I would say. Like overall, pretty decent. I would say good episode of Dynamite. My last half hour just did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. And then also, Tony Khan, following Twitter during the show, already made some changes to a new superstar, a new wrestler, I would say. We'll talk about that when it comes up. But yeah, don't have to talk about. At the same time, not too much to talk about. Excuse me. Something caught my throat. I was finishing dinner right before we went live, so I kind of like scarfed it down. But with all of that, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I greatly appreciate it if you did right here for Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, you can help us out over on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button. That way you know when we post new videos, that way you know when we go live, and that way you know when we post to the community tab. Also, remember, if you want to support the channel in another way, you can do so by becoming a channel member. Hit that join button to become a channel member. You get access to emotes and emojis. You get access to our graphics packages. You get access to our graphics tutorials, which tomorrow we will have our WWE Backlash graphics up for you guys to download and use. We will have by the end of the week, I'll have my Backlash tutorial, Photoshop tutorial, edited up and posted for members. And then coming up, maybe next week or the week after, sometime shortly, we'll have our Saturday night's main event graphics posted as well. So you guys will be getting all that. Again, it's something we can provide you that no other wrestling channel can. Teaching you how to use programs like Photoshop and After Effects and giving you graphics that you can use for whatever you want to use it for. Also, remember, if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you can do so by donating a super chat in the live chat. Also, speaking of members and Patreon subscribers, patreon.com/PW Unlimited. We do have the post up right now for our Q&A. I'll be doing a Q&A at the end of the week. So we do have the thread there, both on Patreon and the YouTube community tab, where you guys can ask your questions. And finally, head over to the Epic Games Store. Head over to the Epic Games Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use this code right here, PW Unlimited, at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Maybe you're getting into that new Star Wars Galactic Battle season in Fortnite. Well, when you're getting the V-Bucks to get the Battle Pass, use this code, PWU NLIMITED. And when you buy anything now, whether that's on the Epic Game Store, whether that's through Fortnite, whether that's through Fall Guys, or whether that's through Rocket League, you will get 20% back in Epic rewards that you can spend however you want through Epic and the Epic Game Store. But with all of that, excuse me, we got AEW Dynamite to talk about that kicked off with a pretty good tag team match. It was one of those enemies got to be friends or at least work together some way. And I don't know if would you call Hangman and Ospreay enemies or just opponents at the pay-per-view?
I would say they're just opponents at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Enemy might be a little too strong of a word. But I was telling Luke this off air. I have a friend that's from the Chicago area. In the last couple of years, they've ran this beach break in Chicago. He goes, beach break in Chicago where we got no beaches. So I always find that funny when he says that.
Go for
it.
I think the reason for AEW doing that is because like Chicago's probably the biggest wrestling city in the world, where it's like they're kind of like, oh, let's just do this in Chicago because we're guaranteed a good attendance.
Well, didn't they do it? What was it? Cleveland, you said? They did a beach break before?
They did Cleveland, Ohio the first time. The main event was Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy, and a lot of people thought, because like that was a show, a lot of people thought Johnny Gargano was going to show up because that's when Johnny was a free agent.
Was that the beach break where it is snowed?
Yeah, it snowed.
Okay, I was thinking correctly. Yep. Because I remember there was one where like, welcome to beach break, and there's like a shot of the outside and everything's covered in snow. I'm like, what the shit? Yeah. Anyways, we got the new theme song, Sum 41's You Wanted War. Caliber welcomes us alongside Taz and Ian Riccoboni. Music of Will Ospreay hits. And Will Ospreay making some controversial comments here recently in some interviews. A lot of fans saying that Will Ospreay can't keep WWE out of his mouth. newest comment he made. This was on the Yo Josh Martinez podcast. He basically said, we smoke them in every field of wrestling, talking about WWE. Like, we're just better. I respect every single one of them there. They all know what they are doing. Oof, what a comment there. They're great at their job. They understand getting people on their feet. But we are so much better of a wrestling company than them. Like, you read that comment and you see the small little jabs and knocks that he's taking at the WWE roster. The whole, they know what they're doing. They're great at their job. Like, kind of like, well, they're good, but they're not great, you know? And then him saying, we are so much better of a wrestling company than them. How many people did WWE have at both nights of WrestleMania? 60,000 each night? If you want to be realistic, 57, 58,000 in the building. Yet they're struggling to sell out the Arlington Stadium. What is that? Let's go to WrestleTix really fast on Twitter and see what the last number we had for that show was. The last I saw was still under like 2,000 or like right at 2,000. WrestleTix. I want to see what they are still at ticket-wise for and what the last update we had for All In. AEW All In. Last update we had was April 29th, which was just a couple of weeks ago. Oh, wow. I didn't even realize this. It's a 45,000 seat building that they don't even have set up for 20,000. Current setup, 18,758. They have 14,000 tickets distributed. Jesus. And Globe Life Field can fit attendance. Globe Life Field attendance. Globe Life Field can fit 40,000. The record for a Morgan Wallen concert in 2022 was 43,598. They don't even have it set up for half. Half.
That's crazy.
Just saying. Now, granted, we're still, what, a month away? 2 months away now. We're 2 months away. The closer we get, the more matches that get announced, the more tickets will get sold. So I'm not super shitting on them yet. Now, once we get to 4 weeks left, 3, 2, 1, then we'll see. But the fact that they don't even have it set up for 20,000, I thought it was set up for more than 20,000. But as of April 29th, WrestleTix had listed that it wasn't. So, oof. But as far as this matches go, it's Hangman Page and Will Ospreay against Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander. Not a big fan of Josh Alexander being part of the Don Callis family. I thought he would be better off by himself. What are your thoughts on that? I know you haven't been really watching too much Dynamite and AEW stuff, but he's still kind of new.
I still get the thing in my head of like the reasoning why he went to AEW. I don't know if you heard his reasoning, but
I don't think I did.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I heard him say the reasoning why he went to AEW instead of WWE was because like WWE has that tendency of always like releasing people, and he said he didn't want to be part of that. I risk being part of that.
I can see that being a thing. I can now see, especially now that Triple H is doing these big releases now. I can see the fear of, oh shit, do I go there and risk being released? Like, granted, it means, and I don't want to say this, but it means you don't have the utmost confidence in yourself to shine there, I guess you would say. But I can see the legit fear from wrestlers on why they wouldn't want to go there. Before it was, I don't want to work for Vince and this, that, and da-da-da. Now it's like, well, Triple H is still doing these big... I mean, he just released 17 people. So the fear is not like... It's legit. I mean, look at...
The fear is no longer like, I don't want to work for Vince. Mm-hmm. Now the fear is, I don't want to go there because I don't want to risk being released and back on the indies.
Like, how many... Like, the first set of releases... Gallows and Anderson signed new deals and were released within 6 months. Then they come back.
Wait. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was
the first
right.
time. The first time, Triple H told them in Japan, "Hey, either sign new deals or leave. I want your answer." And he got them to sign new deals. And 6 months later, they were released because of Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman said he saw none in them. Anyways, that's a whole different story for another time. But then they come back.
That was kind of under Vince, though.
True. But it's still like they come back. Triple H wanted them so bad back then in 2020, 21 or something like that, whatever it was. And he brings them back only to release them a few years later. Brings back Dakota Kai. She's gone. You know, so it's like, brings back Braun Strowman. He's gone. Now, I think Braun Strowman has a whole new career coming his way. Have you seen the Braun Strowman TV show coming to the USA Network?
You told me about that on Monday.
Okay, I forgot if we talked about it or not. So I think if this show goes well, Strowman can branch off and host other TV shows. I think he would actually be very good at this. He's got a great on-screen personality. Like I've seen him on social media, like doing other kinds of sort of hosting-ish things and like Instagram videos and whatnot. And it's like, oh, he's got the perfect personality for these kinds of things. And he's good at it. He's great with interacting with people. But as far as this match just go, Ian Riccaboni pointed out the only blemish on Ospreay's record in 2025 was a tag team loss a few weeks ago to the Don Callis family. Also, Don was on commentary. Ospreay and Takeshita kicked things off. Some lightning quick action early on before Alexander tagged in. Also, I didn't know this. They talked about why Alexander wears the headgear. He lost part of his ear years ago. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing. He lost part of his ear.
I never heard that story before. I just thought, oh, amateur wrestler gimmick. He wears the headgear. I didn't know there was an actual real legit reason.
No, he actually did. I'm pretty sure. I heard he said that in an interview.
Interesting. Yeah, that kind of shocked me. I was like, oh, okay. Because I'm like, I've seen pictures of him without the headgear on, and I never noticed his ear looking, especially because he's got no hair and it doesn't cover it or anything. So it's like, I'm just maybe never saw him from that side. I don't know. Interesting, though. Interesting. So Alexander tags in. After a snap hurricane Rana, Ospreay was about to tag Paige, but a brief delay allowed Alexander to hit a flapjack. There's a wild pump knee doomsday device off the ropes from Takeshita, who tried to target the kidneys, but Ospreay managed a head scissors and a hot tag to Paige. Paige takes down the opponent, springboard lariat, slingshot plancha, moonsault off the apron to wipe out Alexander, as Takeshita was planning with a Death Valley driver inside for a 2. After a commercial break, the Don Callis family were in control. They isolated Paige on their side of the ring, who finally woke up after Alexander opted to start slapping him in the face. An ankle lock was applied, but Paige kicked free, and Alexander collided with his partner, allowing Ospreay to make the hot tag for a full head of steam. To get the hot tag for a full head of steam, there's a double handspring Pele kick to a standing sky twister pressed on Alexander for a 2. At one point, Ospreay with the pip cheerio. Alexander then fought off of a Stormbreaker and countered a handspring into a spinning torture rack for a 2. Ospreay was clocked by Takeshita right hand, but over-rotated a blue thunder bomb and didn't get much of the near fall. Towards the end of the match here, Ospreay countered a Doomsday knee into a Poison Rana and an Os Cutter twice, but Alexander got a shoulder up on the pin attempt. Ospreay signaled for a hidden blade, but Paige got the blind tag. Alexander ducked a buckshot. Paige narrowly put on the brakes, avoiding hitting Ospreay, and tried the hidden blade. And Alexander then again ducked, and Ospreay came in with an incredible looking move to come inches within hitting Paige. Like the opponents that have to be teammates are now kind of messing up, I guess you would say. Both finally got on the same page, hit their finishers, buckshot, hidden blade, and there we go, picking up the victory. So we saw they worked well together, then they didn't work well together, then they worked well together to get the win. Cool. What do you think of the match before we talk about the post-match?
I mean, decent match to start out. I mean, didn't hate it.
Yeah,
But
I thought it was a fun opener.
it was just all right. It was a fun opener, yeah. I am really curious to see like how they use Josh Alexander like down the line, because I do feel like for now they're probably just going to use him as just a guy in the Don Callis family.
Right. But it's the thing.
Which
Go for it.
You can go ahead.
My whole thing is that means, so if you're asking what are they going to do with him down the line, usually what happens is you start as a heel in the Don Callis family. We've seen it with Kenny. We've seen it with Ospreay now. When they're ready for him to make that babyface turn is when he will break off from the Don Callis family, it seems like.
I just feel like even as a babyface, like what exactly do they do with him? Just fight for the international title or the TNT belt?
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing against Josh Alexander, but he does feel like a guy that's just going to get lost in the shuffle and just be another guy on the roster, at least as of right now.
Basically.
Like, I get it. They're trying with Speedball. He's in the main event picture, might be in Anarchy in the Arena. But
Most likely,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, again, yeah, they're pushing him good now, but how long is that really going to last? He's the new shiny toy. But how long is the shiny going to be there till he wears off?
Or before Tony gets bored of him and where he's like, I don't have anything for you.
Exactly. The post-match, Paige, go for it.
But like, I'm trying to think of another, like Adam Cole, for example. Like, yeah, he's the TNT champion, but it's like we only see him on Collision now. We don't even see him on Dynamite anymore.
True, and you couldn't do the argument of, well, there's a lot of start and stop with him because he kept getting hurt. But now he's good to go. And granted, that TNT title has been more of a Collision title since Collision came around.
What is that, like their new world title now, the TNT belt?
No, I wouldn't go that far, but it's like 90% of the time, at least within the last like year or two, we see the TNT champion more on Collision than we do on Dynamite, because it's giving them a, hey, want to see the TNT champion? You got to watch Collision. Go watch Collision. It's like a way for them to say, hey, here's something special you can see if you watch Collision this week, the TNT champion. Because they don't have really anything much. Because it was like when Collision first started, you want to see CM Punk? You got to watch Collision. But now they don't really have that big draw for Collision, and they try to sometimes use the TNT title for that. They try to sometimes, they'll go a whole month where FTR only works Collision. Because they're trying to get people, oh, you're fans of FTR? You got to go watch Collision to see them. So it's kind of what they've been doing with the TNT title. At least that's how I've perceived it. Post-match, Paige and Ospreay were having an intense little face-off when Takeshita and Alexander would attack from behind. Ospreay fought off with a hidden blade on Alexander, suplex on Takeshita, and Ospreay swung wildly with a forearm, decking Paige. Referee Bryce Remsburg had to separate both men as Ospreay was trying to say that he thought it was Alexander. I didn't know it was you. And Paige didn't want to hear it and was pissed off. Yeah, this has been overused for years in wrestling. Oh, I accidentally hit the wrong guy because I didn't look. And the other guy's now mad. He thought it was on purpose when it really wasn't. So, it was okay. They're just building up tension when we don't really need tension because it's a tournament finals. But, cool. Babyfaces get the win. Then they go, we're going to send it to Alicia Toot in the back. Never mind. Video package for the main event. So then they run a video package, hyping up the main event. Then they send it to Alicia Toot in the back. So she's there with Top Flight and Layla Gray. Top Flight are all pissed off and mad because MJF beat them up last week, but they want to fight the Hurt Syndicate for the tag titles. And I'm like, what? You guys? Oh, they just need somebody for the Hurt Syndicate to squash. I get it. Then, well, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara walk up, the ROH Tag Team Champions. Sammy over here wearing a Cody Rhodes 3-piece suit. Like, what the fuck? I've never seen Sammy in a 3-piece suit like this. This was weird. But,
I don't think I've ever seen Sammy in a suit.
Me neither. That's why I'm like, what the? Trying to be Cody? Dustin needs a Cody? I don't know. Anyways, they kind of gave their approval to Top Flight to go after the AEW tag titles, which felt weird. And then later felt even more weird. And now they're setting up a number 1 contenders match with 2 teams that nobody cares about. So, next match we get, and this was actually pretty entertaining. Ricochet and Zach Gowen. Now, I don't think I've asked you about Gowen. What did you?
Can I?
Yeah, go for
Can
it.
I actually say something real quick? I feel like the only reason why Tony did this was because, like, when WWE, the whole prospect the leg thing, the Street Profits did with the fan, I feel like this is like their knockoff version of trying to copy WWE. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Montez Ford did a promo last week on SmackDown and basically said we used the prosthetic leg first. Now, I don't know if that's the case. Maybe they've wanted to use that Gowen for a while.
The timing, though.
Right,
it's the timing, though.
Exactly. But we don't know when they first got in contact with Zach Gowen, and then coincidentally, because it's not like Montez Ford did the prosthetic leg thing on purpose. It was more of a fan going, take my leg off, use my leg, it's a weapons match. So, you know what I mean? It was more of a happy coincidence, accident. I don't know. But for all we know, they could have been talking to Zach Gowen for like a month before that ever happened. But regardless, I thought it was really cool that Taz was on commentary because Taz called all of Zach Gowen's WWE matches because Zach Gowen worked SmackDown when Taz and Michael Cole were the SmackDown announcers. So hearing Taz calling a Zach Gowen match brought me all the way back to 2003. All the way back to 2003. I liked it. I loved it. I thought this was great.
I remember like seeing clips of him on YouTube that went on the WWE network. Excuse me, but anyway, I remember seeing clips of him on YouTube, and then I went on the WWE network to rewatch a pay-per-view. It was the pay-per-view where he took on Vince, and at the beginning of the match, he like immediately took off his leg.
Always.
Just to like try to beat the crap out of Vince. I know during a lot of his matches, though, he'd at least keep the leg on and it would normally fall off during the match.
Most of his matches, he would walk down with a leg on, and right before the bell would ring, he'd take it off for most of his WWE matches. Now, did you ever see his most iconic spot in WWE? When he was in a
Brock
wheelchair.
Lesnar threw him down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, this was nuts. He was sitting in a wheelchair, and they just let Brock shove him, and he had no control over any of it. I'm like, oh my God. And not just because he's a one-legged guy, just anybody, just the way Brock shoved him down these stairs. Like, holy crap.
I guess Zach was like, just toss me down.
Right?
Remember the segment with like him and Sable?
Oh God, yes.
That was like the first time I actually saw him. I was like, Jesus.
So
again, whole different time back then.
There's also a story, and I don't remember the full story, but I want to say like John Laurinaitis called the wrong one-legged man, and that's how they got Zach Gowen or something. Chat, correct me on this. Elite says, I thought he said in CVV it was a stunt man. Was it? Okay, that I didn't see that then. I didn't watch his Van Vliet interview. I could check right now. Let's see. Zach Gowen's stunt man. Let's Google it real fast.
Well, I also remember the handicap match, like I guess when like when Vince was trying to take down Zach Gowen and Stephanie. That's when Stephanie was feuding with Vince as well. And they had the Big Show take on Stephanie and Zach Gowen. And the two won, but they had the help of Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar during that match.
Okay, so Zach didn't take the bump. He said, quote, they brought in a stump double to take the particular fall down the stairs in the wheelchair. The guy looked just like me, except he had two legs. Vince asked me if I wanted to take the bump. I looked at him and said, quote, are you crazy? So it was a stunt guy. Okay, that I didn't know. I should go back and watch that Zach Gowen interview then, because I never saw that. So, interesting. I know also there was a story that came maybe from that interview where like they were trying to reach, they got like the wrong Zach Gowen or something like that. Like he wasn't supposed to be, I don't know. There was something weird, but anyways, back to the match. The match was actually pretty entertaining. I liked it. I thought it worked well. Ricochet strutted to the ring with Gowen's prosthetic leg that he stole on Collision, resulting in Gowen having to come out on crutches, hugging his kids at ringside. Also, hold on. One other thing I need to look up really fast. So, the last time Zach Gowen had a singles match, his opponent, where is this? Hold on. He worked a guy. There we go. He worked a guy in June of last year that his name would not be allowed to say on the radio. Could you take a guess on what that may be?
What?
It was Zach Gowen versus Deputy Dickhead. Never heard of this guy before.
I never heard of that guy.
I saw somebody post about it on social media earlier today. They're like, Zach Gowen's last singles match was last June against Deputy Dickhead. I'm like, who? It was for JCW in Michigan. I just thought that was a funny little thing there. But anyways, commentary put over Gowen's history, talking about, you know, he was 8 years old when he lost his leg to cancer. They said he shared the ring with many here in AEW, like Paul White, Shelton Benjamin, Mark Briscoe, and even the great Muda in AJPW back in 2007.
When did he fight Mark Briscoe?
That I don't know. I'm just going off of what commentary said. I can tell you right now. Hold on.
That had to be probably just. Was he ever in Ring of Honor for a moment?
2010, it was Christopher Daniels and the Briscoes against the House of Truth, which was Michael Elgin, Roderick Strong, and Zach Gowen.
2010?
Yeah.
How long was the House? I thought the House of Truth was just 2015.
That's what this says on Cage Match. The House of no, this says the this says the House of Truth was a group in Ring of Honor from 2010 to 2012. I never knew he was part of this.
It had to be long. I thought it was longer.
Yeah, I never knew he was part of this. It was Truth Martini, which I knew that. Christian Abel, Josh Raymond, Roderick Strong, Michael Elgin, Christopher Daniels, Zach Gowen, and Rhino were all members of the group at one point.
I thought the House of Truth was Jay Lethal.
Oh,
unless
no.
Jay Lethal like brought it back.
He might have brought it. Let me see. Hold on. I know what you're thinking of. That was with like him. I think Jay Lethal brought that back with like Taylor Hendricks and stuff. Because let's see. Looking at the Wikipedia. It says Charlotte Bordeaux at one point was a manager of the group. At Supercard of Honor in 2014, Truth Martini helped Jay Lethal win the ROH TV title and become his manager. This then led to them reforming, the House of Truth. They also added Taylor Hendricks to the group. And boy, does she has some stuff to say about that.
I remember that.
Yep. So, yeah.
I remember her from
They brought it
the
back.
Gut Check reality show in TNA.
Mm-hmm. So moving forward.
Remember that show?
Yeah.
Gut Check? The Joey Janela one? Or no, it was Joey Ryan, actually.
Joey Ryan. But as far as the matches go, Gowen tried to go Ricochet to go to the ground. He literally chased Ricochet from the ring. Gowen hit a springboard cross body, landing on his foot. After shining up Ricochet's head and hitting a palm strike, Ricochet slammed Gowen into the barricade, into a picture-in-picture break. Back from the break, Ricochet missed a charge and crotched himself in the ropes, as Taz pointed out that it was the Yam Bag Yahtzee. Ricochet then caught Gowen leaping off the second rope and fired off some chops, mocking blowing a kiss to Gowen's family in the front row before hitting a springboard for 50, but only getting a 2 off of it. Ricochet followed this up with a shooting star press, but again, Gowen kicked out. There's a vertigo that connected, and Ricochet got a nonchalant cover. Wasn't really trying hard. Gowen again got his shoulder up. Ricochet opted to grab the golden scissors. Referee Rick Knox saw it and refused to let it happen. With his back turned, referee that is, Gowen waffled Ricochet with his prosthetic leg and got it close too. Gowen signaled for the moonsault. They said, Taz, you know what this is? He goes, oh yeah, I do. Goes up there, goes to go for the moonsault, but Ricochet moves nobody home. This allowed Ricochet to hit the spirit gun and pin Zach Gowen to pick up the victory. I thought these two worked pretty goddamn well together. What did you think of the match?
It was a fun match. Didn't hate it, but I mean, obviously it was just a one-time thing for Zach Gowen in AEW. But
More than
maybe
likely.
they bring him down more. But who knows? We'll see.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe when they're like in this northeastern region, bring Gowen in to do a match once or twice a year or something. I wouldn't hate it. He's still very impressive, especially because he's got the one leg. But even if he had two legs, I think he would still be an impressive pro wrestler, like a good wrestler.
How often does he like wrestle?
So more consistently than I thought, because if you look at his Wikipedia, like last year alone, he worked 10 matches, 8 to 10 matches. Year before that, he worked 3 or 4 matches. Year before that, he worked 2022. He worked a good amount of matches, almost a dozen or so. 21, he worked a lot, 2 dozen almost, half a dozen. No, about a dozen and a half. So it's like he's keeping active. He's not like a full-time pro wrestler, it seems like, working, grinding the indies every single weekend, but he's staying active within pro wrestling. Like, consistent, too. If you look at his cage match, he hasn't missed a year since, going back to 2013, 2012, 2011, 2010, 2009. I don't think he's missed a year at all since he started. So he's at least had a handful of matches every year since he started. Which, that's good.
Really?
Yeah. It looks like 20.
I don't know. I just don't really hear much about him, though. That's why I had to ask.
That's the thing. You don't hear about him, so you forget about him.
Yeah.
Because, I think the lowest he had was 23. He had 2 matches in 2023. And then, last year, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. Year before that, he had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 matches. So, yeah, other than 2023, he's worked at least 8 matches a year. But post-match, Ricochet hit another spirit gun to the back of the head, followed by a running punt kick to the head. Mark Briscoe would then run out to make the save and chased off Ricochet, who was treated with a smile on his face. I don't know if this is going to lead to a match in Double or Nothing, but we'll see. We go to the back. Renee Paquette's with the Hurt Syndicate. No, she introduces MJF. My bad. She introduces MJF, asking how he feels about what the Hurt Syndicate's going to say tonight. MJF said that it was an incredible, intelligent question. First time for everything, huh? As of he says, as for 406 consecutive days, he was the greatest on God's green earth. He was the champion, and no one can take that away from him. The AEW roster is stacked from top to bottom, and if MJF has to wrestle, he wants to know that he's going to win, and he wants the backup of the Hurt Syndicate to make that happen. He wants to be one of 4 unstoppable dragons and lead him. That can help lead him to the AEW Championship. So then they tell us, hey, so Hurt Syndicate walk up, and they're just like, hey, we got a match up next. Don't go far. As soon as this match is over, we're giving you our answer. Renee then patted MJF on the shoulder. Lashley smiled. And MJF was kind of he looked scared, which was weird. Looked scared. So then they did have a match. It was the Hurt Syndicate versus Top Flight. Match itself, cool. It wasn't a 100% squash. Top Flight got a little offense in. But they probably got more than they should have, if I'm going to be completely honest. It should have just been a 2-3 minute, and then the match wasn't even that long, but it should have just been like a 2-minute squash, bing, bang, boom, you're done. So, quick double team DDT by Darius and Dante early on Benjamin. before taking out Lashley with the dropkick on the apron. Dante tried to dive and Lashley caught him, but Darius dove on the pile to take out Lashley. Back inside the ring, Dante hit a crossbody over a frog splash on Benjamin for a near fall as Darius tagged in. Dante tried another dive on Lashley, who caught him in midair and posted him in the process. Benjamin launched Darius with a suplex, and then on the floor again. Lashley then took over and did the same. They started beating them down. Spinebuster on the apron, followed by a corner charge, neck breaker before tagging in Benjamin. He took out Darius with a suplex. Bunch of suplexes, actually. But he went for the pin and Darius kicked out. Dante recovered as he made the tag, but was immediately hit with the pump knee in midair and a step-up knee in the corner. Lashley destroyed him with a spear. Hurt Lock applied. Benjamin clocked Darius with a super kick, and Dante passed out to give them the victory. Not much to it. Whatever. What did you think of the match?
Just a match, just trying to wrap up the thing from last week. Basically what it was.
Yeah. So, excuse me. We do all this, and they ask for MJF. Oh my God. Well, actually, no. Not even that yet. Lashley releases a submission, and Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara walk out. I'm even getting ahead of myself here. Dustin and Sammy walk out. And so Rhodes said, Lashley doesn't look like a badass. He looks like an asshole. Saying, why don't you pick on someone your own size? MVP said, with all due respect, I have a lot of respect for your family. But this ain't the time or place unless you want to be left in a pool of your own blood. MVP asked what they really wanted, and Rhodes said, ain't it obvious? Before they could say any more, out come the crew. Leo Rush and Action Andretti. And they start talking about how they want the titles. And Andretti calls Dustin Gramps. And Dustin goes, hey, don't cut the line. But actually, if you've been watching these shows, you know that Dustin and Sammy are actually cutting the line. Because, was it last week when Top Flight got beat up by MJF? Crew were like sitting, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe I'm thinking of a different week. Crew were like sitting there watching the Hurt Syndicate. So it's like they've been around, not doing anything, but they've been around the Hurt Syndicate trying to get noticed for a tag title shot. So for Dustin to say, don't cut the line, like, okay. Anyways, he does the whole mind your elders and respect and this and that. And then Guevara gets in their face and they say something about go back to your daughter. And the crowd's just dead here. Zero reaction. I think there was a shut the fuck up chant at one point. Leo then tries to reason with Bobby, going, hey, we got history. Bobby, how about we rekindle our history and you give us a tag title shot? And MVP's kind of over this and goes, you know what? Fuck it. Collision. You two teams can fight, and I guess the winners will get us a double or nothing for the tag titles. And I'm sitting here going, what the fuck? Do you care about either of these teams challenging for the tag titles?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither. And neither did this crowd. Like, who is going to... Second pay-per-view in a row that the Hurt Syndicate's going to get going to have a tag title defense with a team that nobody cares. Like, ugh. Yeah, this ain't good. We talk about WWE's tag team division not being booked well and challengers not being really brought up well. This is just as bad. I'm going to say it. This is just as bad. And it's like, you've got the ROH tag team champions now wanting to challenge the AEW tag team champions. Okay. Why not put both titles on the line? Make it title for title, and then the Hurt Syndicate can look like real badasses with two sets of tag titles. That's what I thought we were getting at. I thought MVP was going to be like, Dustin, you want to challenge for our titles, but you've got titles, put them all on the line. Because who the real best tag team is. That's where I thought we were leading to. And maybe we still can, but it's not needed anymore because they literally said, oh, you beat these guys, you get a tag title shot. But, yeah, I don't know. So then MVP says, hey, MJF, where are you? They ask for MJF to come out, and he doesn't. So MVP tells Benjamin, go find him. And this goddamn Tony Khan MJF is hiding behind Tony's table at the go position. And Tony's like, hey, Shelton, he's over here. He's over here. He's over here. He's over here. He's right here. Look at this guy right here. And MJF kind of goes, hey, Shelton, what's up? And I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've seen all month in wrestling. What the fuck am I watching? Tony Khan ratting him out. MJF being scared. What? Scared? So Benjamin drags him basically out to the ring. And they do the whole, all right, you need 3 thumbs ups to make it in the group. MVP gives his, boom, thumbs up. Shelton gives his, sure. And then it's all down to Bob Lashley. Lashley goes over and takes his time, puts his arm around MJF. As his hand is out, kind of going, Taz tells us, look at Benjamin, look at Benjamin. Benjamin's behind MJF like, if Bobby says no, I'm going to super kick this motherfucker's head off. Bobby says no. And Bobby goes, hey, but you're not official yet. And MJF gets all happy. And he's like the kid that just made it into the popular group at school. But it's more like, hey, we're going to let the nerd in so we can do our homework or something kind of thing is how it felt like. And so he's like, yeah, we hurt people. Crowd, we hurt people. We all hurt people. We hurt people. And so he like tries to lead the crowd into a we hurt people chant. And then they say, next week, we'll have a contract signing to make it official that you're the newest member of the Hurt Syndicate. MJF celebrated like he just won the world title. This sucked. What'd you think?
Yeah, it sucked.
I did not like this at all. Like, the Tony Khan stuff. He's right here. Hey, he's right here. That was dumb as shit. And then MJF being scared the whole time. What? Why would he be scared? Because he thinks they're going to beat his ass?
I know. I think he was just trying to be funny, be like, oh yeah, he's right here. Get him, boys.
Oh no, Tony was trying to be funny. Yeah. But the whole MJF being scared, that I still think it's leading to Cedric Alexander showing up. Because as of 6 days ago, he was a free agent. But they're trying to stretch it out.
Maybe it's probably just trying to stretch like, we don't need you. We actually got our own guy now. Exactly. So we no longer need you.
Yep.
And it's going to lead to Cedric.
Yep. So moving forward.
Well, like, what's the whole thing going to like do in the end? Is it going to lead to Bobby Lashley versus MJF?
Not a double or nothing. Because they already told us they're defending the tag titles.
Maybe at like All In, it's going to be Bobby Lashley versus MJF, and they're just going to have.
But then, so that means no tag title match at All In? Like, I don't know where the end game. I'm so confused on what the end game is here.
Unless they just have Bobby hand his title to Cedric.
Okay, so if they do get Cedric, that is possible. Very possible. I didn't think about that one. So, and I'm going to find. I just had that tweet. Now I can't find it. That Tony Khan one. So, anyways. I need to find a tweet here really fast. Also, guys, if you haven't seen yet, new update out for WWE 2K25. You get all the new wrestlers. Julia, you get Stephanie Vicure, you get Chapter 2 of The Island, and you also get Motor City Machine Guns as well. But, so we get the 4-way eliminator match. We got the women here. It's Timeless Toni Storm, returning Sky Blue, Mina Shirakawa, who's having her first match as a signed AEW wrestler, and then the NJPW Strong Women's Champion, Azumi, which I guess that's how you say her name. It's AZM, but it's Azumi, I guess. I was wrong on that one. Anyways, go for it.
So for that DLC pack, who's the celebrity guest?
So they literally told us in a press release today, WWE is going to make a very cool, fun announcement in the coming weeks for that. But we don't know who it is. A lot of people have speculated that it might be I Show Speed, because in the island you can unlock the Prime bottle. But I think it might be Travis Scott.
It's either going to be Travis Scott or I Show Speed.
Yeah, but we don't know yet. They said WWE has a fun announcement coming to let us know what that's going to be. But I know that in My Faction and then in the Island, if you play through Chapter 2 of the Island and the new My Faction stuff, there's new unlockables and whatnot. Anyway, so we've got all these women. And Mina Shirakawa's got new music. Well, apparently, fans online didn't like that. Tony Khan took notice. I'm going to pull up this tweet here on the screen. Well, a couple of tweets here on the screen. So some of these tweets. This first one says, "We need Mina old theme back, boss. I'm trying to vibe." Tony says, "I already switched it back." This one says, "Did TK check Twitter to see everyone raging on that Mina theme and decide to change it back on the fly?" He said, "Yeah." So, interesting. I didn't notice anything, but again, I don't know. I knew the theme sounded different than the last time we saw her, but to me, it wasn't like a, "Oh my God, this sucks. This is bad." Da, da, da. I'm just like, okay, whatever. She's still out there doing the dance, so. Apparently, Tony Khan's already switched back her music or whatever. Give her old music back. But anyways, the big thing about this match was that, Azumi had just beat Mercedes Moné. Well, had just took the Strong Women's Championship last weekend from Mercedes after pinning Mina. So the thing is, you think, oh, is Mina the wink link here? She just lost a multi-woman match the other day. And they kept telling us, too, hey, Toni Storm is 12-0 in these eliminators. And they harped on that last week, too. Toni Storm is 12-0 in these eliminators. So, the bell sounds and Shirakawa sprinted at Azumi. Storm and Blue fight as this is Blue's first match in 10 months, I want to say. Lightning quick action from all four women. Shirakawa tried to do her dance, but Azumi rolled her up for a 2. Shirakawa tripped up Azumi to the floor and hit a tornado DDT off the apron, leaving Storm and Blue inside the ring. There's a tilt-a-whirl head scissors by Blue, who followed this up with a pump knee and a tornado DDT of her own. But Azumi came back in. They dodged a roundhouse kick attempt, and then there was a forearm battle. At one point, there was a double Thez press delivered to Blue and Azumi as Storm and Shirakawa started trading forearms after working together slightly. Azumi was in with a high kick on Shirakawa, who hit a Kazadora on Storm, sinking in a figure 4 after dispatching of Azumi. Storm then got to the ropes to break the hold as Shirakawa connected on a dive off the top to the outside on Storm. Azumi then followed this up with multiple dives until Blue took out the pile with a big crossbody dive leading to a break. As he come back from the break, all four ladies were struggling and slugging it out. Storm and Azumi double release German suplexes as Storm followed with another to Azumi, leaving all competitors in separate corners. Sweet cheek music dished out to everybody until Storm finally missed one. She was then sent to the outside. Blue missed a charge on Shirakawa, who then hit a bounce back in Zaguri, wanted her glamorous driver, but Storm flew in the shotgun dropkick to break it all up. There's a sky high by Storm on Blue, but again, Shirakawa came in and broke everything up. Blue and Shirakawa traded kicks until Blue just had enough and tried to go for the code Blue, but Azumi broke that up and broke up the pin, dodged the code Blue and hit a destroyer for a 2. Storm then broke that pin up, flying into the ring. Storm caught a charging Azumi with a snap Storm 0, but Shirakawa broke up the pin. Storm then tried to go for her big package, but Shirakawa rolled her up. 1, 2, 3, flash pin. The champion has been pinned. So Toni finally lost one of these eliminators. And I said it last week. Got to have her lose one soon. She lost it this week. And then immediately, like they didn't waste a second, boom, on the big screen. It is a rematch from last year's Forbidden Door. Toni Storm will defend the AEW Women's Championship at Double or Nothing against Mina Shirakawa. So before we get into more of the post-match stuff, what do you think of the match itself? I thought it was probably the best match of the show.
Well, yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match, and I mean, Toni Storm, she's gonna win. She's gonna retain at Double or Nothing, most likely. I don't see her losing. She's probably most likely gonna hold the belt till at least All In, but I don't know who her All In opponent's gonna be, which I know it's a little early, but
well, it's the winner of the Owen. It's either Jamie Hayter or Mercedes Moné.
Oh God, I don't want it to be Mercedes. I really don't.
It's most likely Mercedes.
Could you imagine if Mercedes won and she actually beat Toni Storm and she's holding all these belts?
The TBS, the TNT, the Rev. I think she still has the Rev Pro. And yeah, she lost the New Japan title, but I don't know.
Who should she lose the New Japan belt to?
Azumi, who was in this match. That's why afterwards she attacked Azumi. As we can talk about here. After the match, Azumi was leaving and she was attacked in the aisleway by Mercedes Moné. Mercedes decked her and put her in the Monet maker, or the statement maker. Jamie Hayter then came out and stomped Mercedes to save Azumi. And then they started fighting. She tried to go for the Haterade and security broke everything up. So, yeah, big schmoz afterwards. So we'll see how that all goes, but the winner of the Owen at Double or Nothing will challenge for the AEW Women's World Championship at All In July. It's either going to be Mercedes Moné or Jamie Hayter. So then we go to the announce table, and they give us a little memorial thing for Sabu. This is good to see. Kind of a similar way that WWE did it. Our commentary was like, I won't, not the right word, not commentating, but like narrating, I guess you could say, talking about Sabu, kind of like they did on Raw with Michael Cole and Taz, or Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. They talk about Sabu's passing, mentioning that his legacy is almost unmatched. Excalibur said that if there was anyone who knew Sabu better than anyone, it was that man sitting next to him, Taz. And Taz said it on social media, and Taz has said it in the past. He would not be where he was in pro wrestling if it wasn't for Sabu actually letting him get as much offense as he did in their first ECW match, because they were supposed to go in there and Sabu was completely supposed to squash him. But he let Taz shine, and that got Paul Heyman to use Taz and sign Taz and make Taz an integral part of ECW. So,
I mean, obviously we don't know what the cause of death was. I mean,
right.
Maybe we'll know in the coming days, or maybe we'll never know, but who knows?
No, you people that keep wanting to blame old Joey Janela and Brett Lauderdale, stop. Please stop. Like, these guys, no, don't. Anyways, back to this. Where was I? They said that his work ethic was off the charts and his energy was infectious. Sabu's aura was an aura like you've never seen before. It was cool. And behind the curtains, he was loved by all of his peers worldwide. Taz broke down and actually teared up. I'm not sure if he was actually crying or anything, but he did tear up. Commentary all did the point to the sky for Sabu. Everybody in the front row and the crowd around them were doing it as well, as a graphic was shown in tribute. Great memorial for Sabu, who did in the past make an AEW appearance. So
he was wasn't he like the enforcer for the Adam Cole versus MJF match?
I'm looking it up right now. I want to say it's
or
correct.
He was an enforcer for something.
I'm looking it up. Let's see. AEW. Oh wait,
no, it was the Jericho one.
I think so. It's not going to come up on his cage match because he didn't actually work the match. Sabu. Let me see. He in AEW. Here it is. Sabu made an appearance for AEW. It was revealed that he would come out of retirement for a one-off in the corner of Adam Cole along with Roderick Strong during his unsanctioned match with Chris Jericho at Double or Nothing. So that's what it was. So it was Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Ray Paquette's backstage with MVP and an ecstatic MJF who said he feels like he just won the lottery. All that he has left to do as well, get a lawyer. And Mark Sterling comes up to go. He needs him to go over the contract. MVP was caught off guard as Sterling walked in and offered a handshake, but MVP shoved him aside. MJF said that Sterling could take a walk. He told MVP, "You don't sign a contract without making sure it's kosher." As MVP seemed to understand, and they walked off together. So it's like, oh, MJF think there's something sketchy in this contract? We'll see next week. So we get Tony Schiavone, and I'm like, oh shit, he is here. Okay. Tony Schiavone is in the ring with Nigel McGuinness. Apologized to Schiavone for getting in the ring last week on Collision. Something he told Schiavone to never do. There's someone else that needs to be apologized to, and that's Daniel Garcia, who makes an entrance. McGuinness said They let his ego get the best of him, robbing Garcia of getting in the winner's purse. But realized his place is at the announce table with Shivani, and this will never happen again. Garcia said McGinnis could keep his apology, as FTR disrespected him, and all he really did was stand up for himself. FTR tried to end Adam Copeland's career, Garcia's career, and possibly McGinnis's as well. Garcia will do what he has to, with or without him, but in the honor of Nigel McGuinness, he would love to fight by his side. And Stokely comes out, and then this just kind of dragged. This felt like it dragged and dragged and dragged. Stokely comes out, and he said FTR aren't here tonight. And usually when they say that, that means they're here, and they're going to attack you from behind. You never say, oh, my guys aren't here, when they aren't. Like, anyways, I knew exactly what was coming. This was boring. I will just say that. I was bored through all of this. And maybe it's because I don't watch Collision and I'm not up on the storyline, but this did nothing for me. So, the jaw jacked as he nearly broke, they said 1 week ago, nearly broke Harwood's jaw and dislocated Wheeler's shoulder, asking McGinnis what his problem was. McGinnis mockingly said he's sorry. As Hathaway said that he doesn't work for them. When you do something bad, there's consequences for your actions. FTR and Hathaway talked and said the punishment is an official match, as they won't be held accountable for what happens in injuring him. McGinnis said that that's why he doesn't want to wrestle them. They're 10-time champions. He's barely had a conversation with Garcia, and they'd kill him. Garcia said McGinnis has overcome the odds his whole entire career, something Garcia has done as well. Hathaway said McGinnis continues sitting at the commentary table, being the Al Bundy of AEW, which I'm like, what? No, he's not. Trust me, I watched plenty of Married with Children. He ain't no Al Bundy. But what makes him think that he can beat FTR when he can barely beat hepatitis? FTR then, well, what'd they do? Sneak attack from behind. Laid out Garcia with the Shatter Machine. McGinnis was about to be dropped with a spike pile driver when Daddy Magic sprinted out and ran him off with the crowbar. Cool. This did nothing for me. I was bored. What'd you think?
Yeah, it didn't really do a whole lot. I don't even know what this is leading to. Is this going to lead to like?
It's got to lead to FTR It's got to lead to FTR versus Nigel and Garcia. It's what it's got to lead to.
Probably, yeah.
It's a Collision story that they've now brought to Dynamite, and yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Collision is what I put on a Saturday or Sunday night to fall asleep to. I don't really pay attention or watch Collision, so just saying. Usually, nothing on Collision interests me.
I haven't watched Collision in a year.
So, before we get into our main event, Jon Moxley defending the World Championship against Mojo in a steel cage. I'll tell you about our sponsor.
Wait, hold on.
Go for it. What do you got?
What time do you go to bed? You say you fall asleep to Collision. What time do you go to bed at night on Saturday nights?
2, 3 in the morning.
It's on 2, 3 in the morning.
DVR, YouTube TV.
Oh, never mind then. I was about to say. What time do you go to bed?
I have it set on my YouTube TV. It records every week.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, all the wrestling shows. Dynamite, Collision, SmackDown, NXT. I just have them all set on because YouTube TV, not a sponsor, but hey, YouTube TV sponsor. Anyways, YouTube TV is perfect because they got unlimited cloud DVR. You can record as much shit as you want. Now, granted, there's a drawback there with their DVR. It's you can't go, hey, I want to record this show, but give me an extra 10 minutes in case there's an overrun. Xfinity lets you do that. You pick the show, and then you say also add another 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes. So a lot of people will record Dynamite and miss the last 10 minutes because they don't get the overrun because it'll cut it off at the top of the hour. So, but as I was saying, we are sponsored here by Chef Robot. Let's hear from them right here. Hey, food lovers. Want crispy, delicious meals without the guilt? Then say hello. to the Chef Robot 8-quart double air fryer, the ultimate kitchen sidekick that fries, bakes, and roasts with up to 85% less oil. With its smart cooking technology, you get perfectly golden results every time. Whether it's wings, fries, or even dessert, just set it, forget it, and enjoy chef-quality meals in minutes. So why settle for boring, greasy foods when you can cook healthier and faster with Chef Robot? Get yours today and transform the way you cook. So use our link in the description below, scan the QR code on the screen, or head over to pwunlimited.co/Chef Robot now for smart cooking and perfect results. And we're back. Main event, steel cage match, Jon Moxley, Samoa Joe with the AEW World Championship on the line. And hey, shocker, Jon Moxley bled. It was a bloody brawl. No shocker there, actually. So as far as this match does go, like, with this, I was bored. That's the easiest way to say it. This match did nothing for me. You would think Joe and Moxley in a cage? Yeah, it really didn't do much for me. And all it did was set up a what? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-man match for the pay-per-view? Where it's going to be like 9 on 6? I don't know. That's all this did. All this did was set up anarchy in the arena. And like I talked about this earlier, but I'll say it again. Like Triple H said, it's not good when you have a pay-per-view where that pay-per-view has a gimmick match every year and you got to get to that gimmick. And so you have these heated rivalries that aren't real heated rivalries because, well, you got to just throw things together to get that match. It's why Triple H doesn't do Hell in a Cell pay-per-views. It's why he doesn't do the TLC pay-per-views. Why he cut out the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Because when you have a show, every October you got to have Hell in a Cell, then it doesn't feel real. It feels forced, and it doesn't feel like, they're doing this because they're two teams that really hate each other and they just want to brawl and fight. No, it's just a bunch of random guys brought together. Like, and we'll talk about the match here in a minute, but I got to rant for a second. Like, you've got on one side the Death Riders and the Elite. Why are the Elite helping the Death Riders? Was it last week, I want to say? We saw the Elite go into a locker room and the Death Riders were there. But then we got no follow-up. Why were the Death Riders in their locker room? Why did they want to talk to Nicholas and Matthew? Back when the Elite left, when they ran away in late 2024, I don't remember exactly what month it was. It was because of the Death Riders. They were like, Death Riders are here running roughshod, and we don't want to be in their pathway, so we're going to work from home. And they left for like 6 months because they didn't want to be around the Death Riders and their rampage, I guess you would call it. But all of a sudden they're back, and now they're buds. They're cool. They're friends. They're working each other. This makes no sense. Then you got old Gabe Kidd. He helped Jon Moxley retain the title. But why? No reason at all. I haven't seen an interaction between these two or anybody in the Death Riders and him at all ever. So it just doesn't make sense. None of this does. Again, this match looks like it's going to be the Death Riders, Moxley, Claudio, Yuta, maybe Pac, and Marina Shafir, Matthew, Nicholas, Okada, and Gabe Kidd against the team of Samoa Joe, Will Hobbs, Swerve Strickland, Kenny Omega, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Willow Nightingale. Like, what? Why is Swerve teaming with these guys? Mike Bailey, he's the new guy just all of a sudden thrown in this. He was fighting Okada, running him off tonight. Like, to me, none of this makes sense. It just doesn't make sense. And Elite does have a good point there. We still got Survivor Series, which to an extent, if Triple H were to go back to traditional Survivor Series, then that would make sense. But to do the whole, we got to have a War Games at Survivor Series, so we got to make a War Games match. Yeah, that does contradict what Triple H did say in the past. But at least with like traditional Survivor Series, it's There's no grudges. There's no rivalries. It's you take a bunch of rivalries and put them together. This is supposed to be all these men just hate all these other men. That's not what Survivor Series was. But regardless, this just feels forced. This feels not organic. It doesn't feel like there's a real story anywhere in this. And it's just they found a bunch of guys. They think they're all bigger names, so let's throw them together. But as far as this match does go, Joe wasted no time slamming Moxley into the cage, delivering headbutts after headbutt after headbutt and a charging boot. Joe dropped an elbow as Moxley rolled to the corner, flipped off Joe, and there was a brief distance put between the two for Moxley to kick out the leg of Joe and deliver a chop block, zoning in on the left leg of Joe. The figure four that was applied. And also they told us, no escape. You can only win in the ring, pinfall or submission. Joe reversed the figure four, causing Moxley to release the hold. It was a forearm battle with some kicks and stuff until Moxley fired off a big boot, taking control as things headed to a break at the top of the hour. We come back and Moxley's just bloody, all busted open. He's slugging it out. They're on their knees. Moxley bit Joe. Claudio shows up, him and Wheeler Yuta. They join Marina Shafir, who was already at ringside, who came down with Moxley. Willow shows up with Powerhouse Hobbs. They're now in the corner of Joe, who ramped up some strikes before Moxley went for his eyes. Moxley tried climbing the cage, but Joe cut him off with an atomic Manhattan drop. Followed this up with a massive senton for a 2. Taz said that Moxley looks like he got in the face with the bazooka. And he's bleeding buckets as Joe sank in a crossface deep, but Moxley got to the ropes. Joe then wanted a muscle buster, but Moxley bit at his face, rolled out into the corner and multiple lariats. Joe managed a big boot, but Moxley exploded into a cutter for a 2 as Moxley transitioned into a cross arm breaker attempt. Moxley switched to a bulldog choke. Joe started fading, but the arm didn't drop. Well, it's not for the third time. Powered up. Moxley spiked him with the paradigm shift, but Joe kicked out, leaving Moxley furious. Moxley wanted to go for another, but Joe spun out of it with a coquina clutch. Castagnoli tried climbing the cage, but Nightingale stopped him as Yuta was planted through a table by Hobbs. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Bullshit. We're supposed to be focusing on the smash, but nope. Now we're focusing on all the stuff outside the ring. And these guys all run each other off before, well, a hooded man shows up, and it's Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd is there. Why? Who the hell knows? Hobbs then stalked down Kidd up the ramp as Claudio Castagnoli. Oh, and he threw Gabe Kidd threw the briefcase in. I forgot to mention that. Threw the briefcase in with the title to Moxley. So he got run off. And I wrote my notes wrong here. Yeah, so he threw the briefcase into the cage. Moxley uses it, takes out Joe, pins Joe. 1, 2, 3. Moxley retains the title. Hobbs then runs off Gabe Kidd as the cage is being risen. There we go. So the cage is being lifted. Hobbs and Kidd run off. Castagnoli smacked him in the back with the chair. Hobbs, that is, but Hobbs no-sold it. Kidd then hit a low blow, and the 2 sent Hobbs crashing into the steel steps as Willow was driven into the barricade by Marina. Young Bucks then walk out. They got this big old control panel thing in their hand. They come out there, Matthew and Nicholas. They're making their way to the ring. They get in the ring. Kidd then helped Moxley to his feet, along with Shavir and the Bucks. All of a sudden, Kenny's music hit. Kenny sprints down to the ring, but he's stopped by Okada, who smacks him right in the gut. Because that's the new thing. Kenny had diverticulitis, so his gut is the weak point now. Omega sprinted and laid out Yuta with a V-trigger. He was laid out by Okada, who threw him into the ring. Matthew Jackson then lowers the cage, and the heels are beating up all these baby faces. We got Matthew. He had control. Omega was locked in the cage. Joe was locked in the cage. Death Riders, Kidd, Bucks. But Okada didn't make it in. Speedball runs out and chases him off. They're gone. Bucks then hit Omega with the EVP trigger. Moxley followed with the paradigm shift and spiked him right on the top of his head. Choked out Omega. And the Death Riders put the boots to Joe. Then we hear the music. Whose house? Swerve's house. Swerve comes down. climbs the cage, and instead of trying to knock this fool off the side of the cage, they all just go, "Oh my God." And they just watch him climb and get to the top. And they just stand there and watch. And they could have easily, he's climbing the side of the cage, knock him down, push him off. No, they watch and watch and watch. And then he does a big old crossbody off the top, knocks them all down. Matthew gets all nervous, raises the cage, so the heels leave. And yeah. Before we get to the big challenge, what did you think of all this? The match itself and the big old schmaz afterwards.
I mean, it was kind of just leading to like what happened at the end of after the match.
Yeah. I felt like the match meant nothing. It was a cage match that meant
really did
nothing. So Swerve gets a mic and he's just like, "I'm the most dangerous man in AEW. And I think we need a little anarchy. Us versus you guys. Double or nothing." And I'm like, "Oh, yep, that's where I thought this was going. Cool. I'm not interested." I really am not. It's just 15, 16 guys all thrown together. They're going to fight around a building. And then what? You need, what, 2 more guys on the babyface side? I don't think Eddie Kingston's ready to come back. I mean, he would make sense for Gabe Kidd. But I don't, as far as we know, he's not ready to come back. April May was always the target, but we've heard he's had setbacks.
I didn't think he was coming back anytime soon.
Right. He's like, he would make sense because he would want to go after Gabe Kidd. And if that's the case and he is ahead of schedule or ahead of what we think and he is coming back, cool. But they got to set that up next week. They only got 1 more show. So that was Dynamite. It was a good show overall, but a lot of kind of meh. So I would put it in the middle, if I'm going to be completely honest. I would put it in the middle.
Yeah, I put it in the middle as well. Like, it was okay. It wasn't bad, but like
the bad stuff
great.
To me, the bad stuff slightly outweighed the good.
Yeah.
But with all of that, you know what we thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's AEW Dynamite as we check these polls. Oof, that ain't good. People ain't liking this show. At least not on Twitter. The Twitter poll didn't do well. So as far as the Threads poll does go, 75% liked the show, 13% thought it was just all right, and 13% didn't like it. As far as the Twitter X poll does go, 47% didn't like the show, 30% did like the show, and 21% thought it was just all right. Looking at the YouTube community poll, 64% liked the show, 18% thought it was just all right, and 18% didn't like it. As far as the live poll does go, 71% liked the show, 20% thought it was just all right, and 9% didn't like it. Everybody that voted on Twitch, which was only 2, liked the show. With that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. But Luke, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me over at Twitter X at Petke_21. And you can also find me over at Twitch at Young Grasshopper Luke.
With that, guys, have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you back here live on a Friday for Friday Night SmackDown. Have a good one, guys. All right, if you're still watching live on Twitch, we're going to hit up a rate.